Alright, I'm giving away answers from practice A right here. Those of you that are coming to Carlos the Chicken for one of the first times, I tend to do this for just about every homework assignment you have, either in Mrs. Walsh or Mrs. Braid's class or in Mr. McGinnis's class. So if you're ever stuck, it's a great place to go. I know sometimes you forget things when you get home from school and it's been, you have all your classes, you learn so much in a day, and that can happen. So I just want to make sure you're familiar. That's why I do these out. And really, all these problems are the same type of problem. They just change the numbers. So it's the process. It's never going to change. It's just that the numbers are a little bit different. So I have 2 times 4, and that's, of course, going to be 8. 2 times 0 is 0. So I could put that 0 there. I'll do it for this problem just to show you what happens here. I do 0 times 4 is 0. And actually, I have to skip a space for place value, right? It's the second number over. Then I do 0 times 4 is 0. And 0 times 0 is 0. So really, that's why I always say you don't even need this. You can just have it as 0.2 times 0.4, and we could leave it as that. But anyway, we have it like this, so whatever. We'll add it all up. That's 8. We get a 0, and we get another 0 here. And since there's 2 digits after the decimal here, 1 here and 1 here, I'm going to be moving this over 2 places. So I go 1, 2, and I'm going to put my decimal right there. So I get 0.08 or 8 hundredths. This time, let's try to do it differently. Remember, I want to add, not add. When I multiply, I want to put them one under the other, not across. So 6.7 times, and this time I won't use that 0. I'll just say 0.4. It's up to you. 7 times 4 is 28. Carry my 2 over here. 6 times 4 is 24, plus 2 is 26. Where you're going to make mistakes usually with these things. Most people after a little while get the decimal rule down, 1 there and 1 there. But after a while they just make mistakes with multiplication, so just be careful there. So I have 2 numbers, not numbles. I don't know what those are. Sounds like something out of Harry Potter. So I move it over 2 spaces, 2 and 68 hundredths. And look at this. If I was to estimate this, this would be about 7. 7 times, this number isn't quite 1, so that makes sense, 2 and 68 hundredths. Now I have x equals 5 tenths, so I have 2 times, raised dot there, 5 tenths. Now I want to line these up, so I have 5 times 2, I should make that really a decimal there, but 5 times 2 is 10, there's 1 decimal point here, so boom, of apples. How many pounds can 3 boxes hold? Well, each box, anytime they use this word each, think multiplication. Put the big number on top, 2.5. Technically, 3 is the bigger number. I mean big number in terms of the amount of digits it has. This has 2 digits, and this only has 1. 5 times 3 is 15. Here's the 1. 2 times 3 is 6. So we get 7. And how many am I moving it over? Just once. So I'm going to just move it over one spot. And if I was to put this into a sentence, I would say 3 boxes can hold 7.5 pounds. Alright, practice B. These ones get a little bit harder, but same deal. Gotta line up the decimals. We'll put 0.58 on the top. Times 0.04. 5 times 8 is 32. That's 3. 4 times 8 is 20, plus 3 is 23. And if you notice, I could do this out, but these will all equal 0, so I'm not even going to bother. There are actually 4 numbers after the decimal here, right? 1, 2, 3, 4. So I have to move this over 4 places. 1, 2, 3. And when I get to 3, just like with addition, we need to annex a 0. So I'm going to add the 0 right here, and it will be 232 10,000ths. 6.017 times 2. Gotta put 6.017 on the top. And since that's a 0, again, I'm not even going to bother to add it. So I do times 2. 7 times 2 is 14. Carry my 1 there. 1 times 2 is 2, plus 1 is 3. 2 times 0 is 0. I do need this 0 because it represents a place value. It's in between numbers of value. Right? There's numbers after it and there's a number before it. So I need that 0 there. And then I have 2 times 6 is 12. And here there are 1, 2, 3 numbers after the decimal, so I'm going to say 1, 2, 3, so it'll be 12 and 34 10,000ths. So that makes sense because this is about 6, and the other number is about 2. 6 times 2 should be 12, so our answer comes out to about 12. Alright, 8x when x equals 0.74. So I'm doing 8, 0.74, or just 0.74. So I'm going to put 74 hundredths on the top, more digits there. 8 on the bottom, less digits there. 8 times 4, 32, carrying my 3. 7 times 8 is 56, plus 3 is 59. And move it over 2 spaces this time, and I get 5 and 92 hundredths. You see why I move it over 2 spaces? There's 2 numbers after the decimal. One more word problem here with practice B that I'll give you, and then you're on your own. The average mail carrier walks 4.8 kilometers in a workday. How far do most mail carriers walk in a 6-day week? There are 27 working days in July. So how far will a mail carrier walk in July? Notice, 1 question, 2 questions. So we got to answer 2 questions here. The first one says there's a 6-day week, and in 1 day they do 4.8 kilometers. So I do 4.8 times 6. I get 48. I'm going to carry the 4. 4 times 6, 24. Plus 4 is 28. And I move it over only 1 place here, so it's 28.8. And then the next question says there are 27 working days. So I'm going to multiply 27 times 4.8. Doesn't matter which number goes on the top or the bottom. 7 times 8 is 56. 2 times 8 is 16, plus 5 is 21. Use a 0 for a placeholder. 4 times 7 is 28. I'll cross off that 5. Write a 2 now. 4 times 2 is 8, plus the 2 is 10. Real important that you line up those digits. And there's only 1 digit again after the decimal here, so I'm going to make it 129 and 6/10. If I was to use a complete sentence here, I would say in a 6-day work week, a mail carrier walks 28 and 8/10 of a kilometer. And I could also say in July, a mail carrier walks that number right there, 129 and 6/10 of a kilometer. That's a busy job.